Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be reviewing the S.H.Figuarts Kyewi from Dragon Ball Z. Now this is an incredibly short-lived character, but for whatever reason he was a fully named character in the Frieza Force and had a decently iconic scene with Vegeta, and pretty much the whole reason why this figure exists is to be sort of like a DLC pack for Vegeta and to showcase the insane expressiveness that Tamashii Nations have been able to achieve lately with the Dragon Ball Figuarts line. Now I won't really drone on too long about this one just because there's not a lot to really talk about for Kyewi because his screen time was super minuscule in the grand scheme of things for Dragon Ball. But for whatever reason it was enough to get a figurine. So we will be talking more about the figure rather than his role in the story because his role was pretty much be cocky and get exploded. So taken out of the box you can see what Kyewi comes with. So we've got 5 alternate faces as well as a face and hand for Vegeta. These are all very simple like gloved hand designs, so realistically you could probably pop this finger on any other Vegeta or basically any other figure that's got white gloves. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to swap it onto the Kyewi itself if you wanted to give him dirty fireworks. But yeah, it's a pretty simple loadout, nothing too crazy. But the expressiveness of all of these faces is what's really important, and we will be getting through that as we go through the review. But one thing that I did want to note is we do get 2 separate scouters, and they do have 2 very specific functions, which we will be getting into later as well. So not a really crazy loadout or anything, it's pretty standard for like a 2.0 body release. This is a P Bandai figure, so much more limited release and a bit of a higher price point, but he is an incredibly niche character and wouldn't really make sense going to standard retail. But anyway, taken out of the box, here is Kyewi all set up, and it is pretty much identical to any other 2.0 body Frieza Force Scouter Vegeta type body. I should have probably taken out my Saiyan Saga 2.0 Vegeta to showcase the similarities, but it's basically the exact same figure, just a few little details here or there to make them stand out, but functionally it is the same. Now Kyewi does have a pretty unique design, as does a lot of the Frieza Force, just because it's all different aliens, all different shapes and sizes, all different colors, and Kyewi's whole deal is this sort of octopus look. So we've got these 2 big sort of holes on either side of his head. The head is a unique dome sort of style. There are sort of like welts / bumps all along the head and arms, which gives the body much needed texture and detail. None of this is painted detail, it's just as it comes just in the plastic, it's just molded like that. The actual painted detail on the figure is nice, but also quite standard just because it's the colored Saiyan armor, a few details around the gloves, and of course the faces. And it looks decently good. All of the faces are very well detailed. I do like the weird little tentacle mustache thing that Kyewi's got going on. These are also posable between pretty much all the faces. I don't think there's any that can't really move, although one of the faces I didn't try just because it seemed like it was very, very static, so I left it as is, but those are normally posable, very similar to how they do it with the Piccolo figures. Anyway, here is Kyewi next to the Namekian Vegeta, so Vegeta 24,000 power level, and you can see how they stack up, and Kyewi is definitely like a 2.0 figure, whereas Vegeta has a little bit of new stuff in him, mostly all in the upper body, but you can see the legs are pretty much identical, and shape-wise they are very similar, but function quite differently. And here he is next to the Super Saiyan Full Power Goku, the legendary Super Saiyan Goku, S.H.Figuarts Naruto, the Jada Toys Ryu, and the Marvel Legends Cyclops. So you can see how he stacks up against other figures in the line, other figures from Tamashii Nations, and just other toys in general. Anyway, moving right along to posability, he's got a ball joint in the head and neck. It allows for a decent amount of motion, again very, very simple 2.0 sort of style body. Again, the little tentacle things are posable, so you can move them out of the way if your poses get a bit too wild. The shoulder pads can just hinge out like normal for these figures. The arm can rotate all the way around. There is a butterfly, which is pretty good. There's an upper arm swivel, bend at the elbow, and ball hinge at the wrist. There's a ball joint in the upper chest, which allows for a decent amount of side-to-side rotation and bending. Nothing too crazy, but again, it's pretty good. The side skirts can move out of the way, and his body can spin on a swivel. His legs can split that far, kick forward and back that far. There's a thigh swivel, as well as a bend at the knee, a pivot at the ankle, and bend at the toes. The pivot is a little bit limited due to how the boot is designed, but it's fine overall. And that's Kyewi. It is nothing we haven't seen before, but that's perfectly fine for a character that probably lasted, like 8 minutes in total in the show. Anyway, Kyewi has 5 faces, so we've got a standard sort of cocky smiling face out of the box. Now, I was staring at this one for a while thinking that I had a misprint, but the face itself is designed asymmetrically, so he does have a slightly raised eyebrow on his right side of the face, and that is not just a misprinting error, that's just how he is actually designed. Then he's got a big exaggerated eye laughing face, and that looks really, really good. It works for the cocky poses as well as like sort of bluffing poses, and I think it looks really, really good. He's got a mouth open, sort of shocked face, again asymmetrical eyes, and I think it's really interesting. The face shape is actually a bit longer on this one, which is interesting. And these are all fully separate heads, not like face swaps, which is also quite interesting. And then he's got a big open-mouthed smile. This, I think, is the only symmetrical face in the lot, and it looks quite nice. And then we've got the about-to-be-exploded face for the dirty fireworks. And this is pretty much the whole reason why this figure exists. Pretty much the best face I've seen from Tamashii Nations. Really, really good application of detail and paint. It's not perfect paint by any means, but just the expressiveness is so incredible on display here, and I really, really like it. Now, we do also get 2 Scouters, and I thought that there was a difference between the Scouters, or they would only work for certain faces, similar to what they do with the First Form Frieza and a few other figures, where you have a separate sort of head or eyebrow sculpt that is only compatible with certain faces or things like that. No, there are 2 very specific faces for Kyewi that can take a Scouter. And that is why we have 2 different Scouters, because the head is designed in a way that doesn't allow either Scouter to be on it. So basically the neutral face, the neutral smiling face that comes out of the box can have one Scouter, and then the sort of slack-jawed shocked face can have the other Scouter. And that's just because of how the head was sculpted, and they decided to have 2 different Scouters with slightly different shapes, just to accommodate for these 2 specific faces. Was that too much effort? Probably, but it is interesting that they did it. And it also does kind of suck. There is a little bit of a paint error on my neutral face one. It's this little speck of white on it. It doesn't bother me too much, but it's a little bit of a shame that it's there. And of course, we also get the Dirty Fireworks face for Vegeta. We also get another swappable ear for him, because the 24,000 one only came with one swappable ear, which is fine because you just swap it in between the Scouter or not, but it is kind of cool that this face has it, and then you do need to have the figure itself to put on the Scouter, and the Dirty Fireworks face does look best with the Scouter on, and it is nice to have. The detail on display is similar to the actual 24,000 Vegeta. It just looked really, really good. Some of the best hair design and face design we've seen ever in the line, and these Kyewi faces are also fantastic. But yeah, with those accessories, you can get Kyewi into some very standard poses. Not a lot going on, really. It's just all in his expression. And I had a decent amount of fun posing him. Nothing I haven't seen before, but the star of the show is by far the Dirty Fireworks. And I also had a lot of fun posing Vegeta into that iconic pose, and posing Kyewi into the just about to be exploded pose. It is a little bit hard to get him balanced just right on a stand, but once you get it there, it looks really, really good. I do like that the exploded face does allow for a little bit more leeway sort of in the vertical look up, where the actual posability didn't allow for that too much. The way this head's sculpted, it's sort of looking up, which allows for that display to work. And I think that's a nice touch. But overall, again, just a really standard figure, nothing too crazy going on, but I do think it's a justified release. Whereas, say, the Android Saga Yamcha, he was so incredibly standard that he was basically an accessory pack for Android 20. I feel like Kyewi can stand on his own enough because it is a fairly unique sculpt with a few unique things going on. Whereas Yamcha felt like he probably should have had other stuff, but instead was basically a glorified accessory pack. It's a fine figure, but I do think Kyewi is better in this sort of like DLC pack sort of style that they've been doing lately, especially with the P Bandai releases. But overall, I had fun with him. Great if you've got the 24,000 Vegeta. If you just want Kyewi for whatever reason, yeah, it's cool. There's finally a Kyewi figure and you get a bonus Vegeta face. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.